She's an enchantress, destiny's tree. Fear and doubt, she sets them free. Inner light guides the way, every night and every day.
Hey, welcome back to another mini masterclass. My name is Celia, and every Tuesday I show up here and I talk about topics, whether it's philosophy, astrology, or spirituality. So, being that the energies are kind of a little bit wild right now, how are you guys feeling? I do feel a sense of calmness. Can't explain it, but I do know that there's something coming big coming in. And so I'm just embracing myself during this time and waiting for that to come in. I kind of feel like it has to do with this plutonic energy of Pluto moving into Aquarius in on November 19th and 20th, depending on where you live. But let's just talk about the full moon that we're going to experience November 15th. Now, full moons, if you've never worked with the moon's energy, the moon is a feminine energy and she represents your subconscious mind. And so these are limiting beliefs that you've pushed down that you felt like it wasn't safe to express. And so, whenever we experience a full moon, those emotions will come to the surface so that we can finally integrate them and live in our truest essence as the most authentic version of ourselves. And being that she's going to be expressing Taurus's energy, I just wanted to talk about that and see and discuss how you can maneuver those energies if there's some emotions going on around this energy. And the reason why is because Taurus represents stability in our lives. It is natural. Taurus's natural placement is the second house. And the second house is about resources. It's also about material things and our self worth. Okay. And so, if there's anything that you haven't been working on in those areas, they're going to come to the surface. So, let's just talk about stability. Now, everyone is going through, economically, it's a tough time right now, right? Because of inflation and everything. But now there's like a sense of peace coming in. And with that sense of peace, it's time to start focusing back on yourself. And that is where the self worth bit comes in. Now, Venus is the natural planet that rules the second house. Okay. So Venus's energy is about what I love. And so it's what you love when it comes to the material world. So, what is it that you want to create? What is your sense of stability and feeling successful, right? Because we're rewriting everything right now. Now, the divine feminine energy is trying to awaken us to step into the truest and highest version of ourselves. We are the matriarchs. We are here to nurture. And the moon is the matriarch. She represents the emotional side of us. And Lilith is the dark moon energy. And Lilith is the shadow sides of who we are that we've been pushing down, that we've been telling ourselves it's not safe to express. So during this time, I'm looking at my clock, it says 222. So that represents it all because 222's energy is the divine feminine. So, anyway, I just needed to point that out. But in this process, we have to get back to finding our, I like to say, Celia's found her groove. Okay. She's got her groove back. I write about that in my book. And it is finding your essence in the way that you want to move in the world. And so, being that Taurus's energy is about what you value, it's not only on the physical, it is in the spiritual. What do you value? What brings you the most joy? What gets you closest to your essence? Where are you pushing yourself away? Where are you disowning yourself? And so the only way that we can be our most authentic is to incorporate all of those limitations, all of those beliefs that we have about ourselves that are keeping us from the highest timeline that we're here to experience. So right now we are in Scorpio season, okay? And Scorpio's energy is transformation. So you're going through a death and rebirth right now. And it is about introspection because of the seasons that we're in right now. We just finished, as I'm recording this, we just finished moving out of the first quarter moon, which is where you take a little bit of a bird's eye view of what's going on. And, because you've been in this waxing energy of taking action, and now it's like you're seeing what's working and what's not working. And so that's what this Taurus full moon is going to bring up in you. It's what is and what is not working for you at this time. Where are you still giving your power away? Where are you feeling like you're out of sync when it comes to money and your finances? Because that is the second house, which Taurus isn't comfortable there. Okay. So that's why we're going to be looking at our stability. What does it mean to have stability? Everybody's version is different, right? It could be the freedom of not having bills and living in a little cottage somewhere and just being free to create, okay? Or it might be living in the city in a penthouse and having a busy life. Whatever it is for you, you have to be clear on what that means for you. Because if you're unclear, then you are going to let somebody else tell you what is right for you. And in this season of tapping into your divine feminine, it's about the unfolding of who you are, the essence of who you are. And so when I received the download to write my book, I received like the steps of really figuring out what your avatar your avatar is. And I talk about that a lot in my videos. I did create a video on how you can find out more about your astrological profile. But even in my book, I take you through the process of finding out like the main parts of what you need to find out about your chart, because with astrology, I know there's a lot of astrological jargon out there. I'm not one that is going to talk about transits other than like full moons or when something big is happening, but like day to day horoscopes. I really use astrology as a form of self development. And that's because every house represents an area in your life. So, speaking of that, with this full moon energy, you're wanting to look at where you have Taurus in your chart. Even if there's no planets in there, the house still represents the where in your life, the area in your life that uh, the moon is trying to bring your attention to. My Taurus happens to be in home. And so for me, stability is about having a safe place called home, which I know that is with everyone. But as a child, I moved around a lot and I was always changing schools and we were just constantly moving. There was a time where we lost everything because my mother was a single parent. And so stability in the home is very important. And it's very important for me to provide that for my family. And that sense of home is not only the, you know, that physical aspect of home, but it's also how you nurture the people you love in your home, which that happens to be what's important to me. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because Cancer is the moon is the natural ruler of Cancer, and Cancer placement is the fourth house, which represents the home. And then we've got Taurus with stability. So all of that is going to be coming up at this time. And that's what I love about astrology, because all of the little nuances come together like a perfectly designed puzzle. And when you understand that, and you understand the energetics, it helps you to have some guidance. Yeah, of course, we're a free will, so you can choose whichever direction you want to take. But if you're feeling a little lost and you're wondering, like, what's next, there's like so much uncertainty in the air. You can take advantage of this Taurus's new moon, or full moon, I mean, energy to really dive into what stability means, what is important to you when it comes to stability. And that is wherever you have Taurus in your house. You're going to want to look also where your moon is. In what part of your chart do you have the moon? And that's also going to be another nuance of your emotional bond to the home. For me, my moon is in Libra. So I'm all about fairness and equality and having balance. Also, my moon is in the ninth house, which is all about spirituality, philosophy, um, and your beliefs, right? It's your belief systems. So I have a strong like it's because it's the natural placement of Sagittarius, which is free thinker. I have that in my home very strong, is allowing my family to, and I'm not allowing them, but I honor the fact that they're free thinkers and they have their own perspective. I've never raised my family to look at um, things how I look at them. I like them to use their own critical thinking, their own discernment, because I feel like that creates healthy confidence in your life and independence. If you're, if you're a type of mother that feels like you have to, be the helicopter mom, it really shows that your kids, you're showing them that they don't have what it takes to be disciplined or to um, figure things out and be more confident. Now, I'm not saying that I don't, if they ask for my advice, I do, I will say from my perspective what I see, but ultimately it's all about you need to figure it out. You need to ask those questions for yourself. So I'm going to do this here with you guys as well. And it's important that you use your discernment. It's important that you figure out what are your values, what is your authentic code. If you don't know where stability is, like for me, it's literally the home, but maybe your stability is in the third house, which is the house of communication. And maybe you feel stability in your life when people listen to you and you feel heard. Or maybe you have your Taurus in the seventh house of relationship, and so you feel more stability in relationship. But then also you've got to check that because it could lead to codependency. So there's a healthy balance. All of it's there in your chart for self-discovery. But the one thing that I want to talk about today, because I'm going to start going over some subjects that are in my book, and the one thing is for your advancement in the game of living an enchanted life, which this is the enchanted game of life, um, is to know the rules of the game so that you can advance. And if you are just waking up every day and letting the day take you wherever, and you're not checking in with your body, you're not checking in where the planets are at this time, you're not checking in where, if what moon phase you're in, because the moon phases also affect your energy. If you're not checking in with yourself and really questioning things that what you're bringing in, like your idea of stability could even be coming from a programming. It could be from what your parents told you means to be stable, or what society is telling you, but you've never really aligned with it. And so that's why it's so important to take a look at your chart and look at your Taurus placement, because that's going to tell you. Now, also, what I love about Taurus's energy is Tauruses are great foodies. Like they love to cook. They love to try different foods. They love like the finer things in life, but it's more like the sunsets and the soft fur of an animal, or just very sensual energy, and really diving into all of the senses, the five senses, as well as your intuition. And so that's one of the beauties of this Taurus full moon that's coming up. It's like, what really ignites your passion? What ignites your soul? Because Venus is saying, what do you love? Are you going to rewrite? Because this is a time right now, like we're having this major um, ascension, this major timeline alignment. And it's really getting clear about what you love. Because the only way that we're going to make change in the world is if we start investing in ourselves. When we invest in ourselves, then we are filling our cup up. So that makes us better women. That makes us better mothers. That makes us a better friend. That makes us a better companion, makes us a better companion not only in our relationships but with ourselves. We don't neglect ourselves. So responsibility is one of the topics I want to talk about today. And in my book, I'm going to just read what I wrote and then we'll discuss it. So responsibility is to advance in the game of living an enchanted life. You must be willing to take full responsibility of your or for your journey. Okay. I'm going to try to put this here so I can read it while I'm talking to you. And so, while we often believe we are in control, it's easy to blame others and the external circumstances for our situations. Reflecting on your past and identifying unmet needs from childhood can help clarify your desires and your decision making process. When you understand that maybe you're uh, deflecting for toward to other people for what you're experiencing, blaming other people, you disempower yourself. And so if you can blame your parents, or you can blame society, or you could blame circumstances, and you don't take responsibility for what you want to create, that's what this energy is all about. It is easy to point the finger at somebody. You're looking for a scapegoat all the time. But how do we empower ourselves as the matriarch? Is we understand that we're the nurturers, we're the co creators. We have everything that we need to envision and create this reality. I mean, just think of when you cook a meal, you take ingredients and you make something very tasty out of it through your creativity. You take a home, and through your creativity, a house, you turn it into a home. So we are here as highly creative beings, and we must learn not to give our power away. Why it's so important that you're not always pointing the finger. So, in the game, we often lead from our wounded selves. So, if you have any childhood trauma, or you have any beliefs of limitation, and you feel like you're the victim, you're going to fall into the hands of manipulation. And, that even goes with politics. So, if you believe you're a victim and you're looking for someone to save you, then you lose all your power. So, but living an enchanted life means that you are integrating and healing that pain. So that's why we had the huge movement of spiritual awakening, it was looking at our lives from a different perspective and taking our power back. Because when we had the first awakening, it was around 2020, and we started seeing things for what they really are. And there's a new wave getting ready to come again. And I really believe that this is going to happen with Pluto moving into Aquarius on the 19th. We're going to experience another wave of people awakening. And it's shocking. It's that Uranus energy, because Uranus is about change, but it's like lightning, it shocks you. And being that, Pluto's moving into Aquarius, and Uranus is the natural planet that rules Aquarius, it's going to come as a shock. And that's where I feel like we're going to have another wave of people waking up. And so when you wake up, it's because it's so shocking, it's like you see things like for what they really are. And you start realizing how you've been playing the victim, and how you've been letting others manipulate through, whether it's propaganda, or it is, just people in your lives that are trying to dictate what you should be doing and telling you what you should do when they've never even done it themselves. So it is through healing the pain and looking at your wounds, you start to change the lens, you start changing your POV, because things start looking different. And when you stop blaming, you see the world from a new perspective. This journey guides you toward your authentic self, uncovering the layers that have hidden your true essence. And I feel like this full moon in Taurus is really going to bring that up right now, because it really is time for you to start empowering yourself and stop giving your power away to these outside authorities. Now, and that is what Aquarius energy is. It's very rebellious energy, and Aquarians don't really follow authority figures. So that's what I think is really going to happen, is with this awakening, is people are going to start saying, hell, this is not, I'm seeing things from a different lens, and I am not a victim, and I'm going to take my power back into my hands. So staying present in the game allows you to ask the difficult questions: why you hold yourself back, And then embrace the challenge of uncovering your authenticity and take bold steps toward living the enchanted life you deserve. And that's what happens is when you awaken and you start taking responsibility of your own life, you realize that you've always been in control. You're living your life and you are creating your reality through your perspective. And when you are out of alignment and you are in the circumstance of blaming your upbringing, blaming how you were treated as a child, blaming your job, your boss, blaming whoever, in the moment it makes you feel a little bit better because you're blaming, but then it keeps you stuck in a pattern because you're never going to take responsibility for the actions that you need to take. So let go of the notion that your identity is what you can see in the physical world, because we've been so programmed. That's why this, what I'm reading in this section in my book, why it's so important, is because with this Taurus's full moon that's we're going to experience on the 15th, it's bringing a light to that where if you are so focused on the material and what you have, you're going to devalue yourself, especially when it comes to money. Most of us are programmed that if we don't have a lot of money in the bank, that we don't have value. But the reality is, it's through your value that you exchange, um, and you start receiving money for it. If you didn't have value, you wouldn't have money. And so it's like it's this 2020, right? Who comes before the chicken or the egg? It's like, no, your value comes first and then you're being exchanged. But you have to know what your value is. And that's why the self discovery and the internal work is so important. And, in the second house where Taurus is comfortable and where it's its natural placement, it is also about your skills and talents. So if you don't think you have skills and talents, take a look at your second house. Your second house is going to tell you where they lie, and that's going to empower you. Okay, so let's move on. So, reconnecting with your spirit requires a profound inner knowing that transcends the visible. Spirit embodies the belief that everything you manifest is already on its way, even if it remains unseen. Logically, you might try to dismiss this inner knowing because it seems irrational. And that's what we do. It's like when we get this download of something we want to create or something we want to bring out in the world, we start looking at our circumstances and we start talking ourselves out of it by saying, I don't have the money, or, oh, I will, when I'm thin enough, I'll get on camera, or when I'm comfortable with the way I look on camera, then I'll start a YouTube channel, or I'll start that job, or I'll start that business, or when I take one more course, or whatever, the story we tell ourselves coming from that not being enough, right? Because the second house is the ruling of your self-worth. So if you don't believe you have value and you don't believe in your self-worth, you're going to keep putting things off. So that's why it's so important. However, the universe operates under the law of order. Trust in the process and embrace in the magic of the unseen. And what I mean by that is it takes great faith and trust when you decide to go after a different version of yourself. When you get out of your comfort zone and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to blame my circumstances. I'm going to work on those, healing those wounds. And then you start, uh, co co-creating with the universe, and you start getting those downloads, and then you have to get out of your own way and move out of the uncomfortable feeling. It takes a huge trust muscle to keep going when there is no evidence of it being real. And that is the hardest thing because so many people give up on their purpose or why they're here or what they want to create because in our timeline, it feels like it's taking forever. But then when you start quantum leaping in the momentum gains, it's like everybody's going to think like you're an overnight success because they don't see all of the hard work that you've done in the background. And it's not always the physical work that you're doing, it's the internal work because when you heal those beliefs of being unworthy and not having to see it in the physical right away, you'll keep going. You'll keep working towards whatever this is that is going to create stability in your life. So, one of the things I do recommend is that you get to know your archetypes, the rules you play in the game. I've been in. in the rules, I've identified three archetypes, and the archetypes that guide you are the warrior, the goddess, and the mystic. And I talk about that more in my book to explain what that really means. But it is through understanding that you do have archetypes, just like there's seasons, you have archetypes. Another thing that you really want to do is you want to understand what your strengths are and your personality traits and what are your values. And that's why your natal chart comes into play, because these characteristics that make up who you are when you think about your sun, moon, and rising really helps you understand where you feel the most empowered. And also, there is the Enneagram. There's some other personality tests that you can do, and human design is another option to find out more about yourself. The more you understand yourself and you go through the journey of self discovery, the more empowered you're going to feel. And it's going to enhance your journey towards an enchanted life. Okay, so also what you want to learn about is you want to learn about your clairs, because your clairs are um, your psychic abilities. We all have them, and so I do talk about in my book about your being clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient, and let me just go over. So, your clairsenses are intuitive abilities that extend beyond the traditional five senses. Okay, this allows us to perceive the world more profoundly and spiritually. These abilities include clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairsentience, which is clear feeling, and claircognizance, which is clear knowing. Those are a few of them. And this helps you, it's like your antenna, it's how you perceive the world. So, although we have our five senses and we touch, feel, hear, taste, smell, but when you tap into your clairs, it's like one step further. It's this deeper inner knowing. And your clairaudience is you'll pick up sounds that are more profound, like you might hear ringings, or you might be rings ringing in your ear where the spiritual realm is trying to communicate with you. Also, like with your clear knowing, it's like in your gut, you just know, like you don't have an explanation for why you know what you know, but you just know. So getting to know that. So releasing yourself from victimhood and moving towards self-discovery, when you are ready, your journey will have more direction. So that's where, because you don't know yourself clearly, you give your power away. And because you don't understand how, you are more than just your physical body and you don't have this spiritual connection, you will look at things externally all the time. And because, there's chaos in the world, it's going to take you through a loop and toss you and get you through anxiety and depression and all of that. And I'm not talking about medical diagnosis. I'm talking about your moods when you're up and down. And the moon triggers those moods. So that's why it's so important to understand where the moon phases are, what zodiac sign the moon is. And that's why we're talking about this full moon in Taurus. So, um, when you're ready to go on this journey with more direction, it's no matter how uncomfortable it feels, you keep moving forward with trust, and new opportunities will open up. Don't wait until everything is perfect to take action. Many people resist taking initiative because they focus on their current results. And that's what I was talking about. If you're saying, I don't have enough money or I need to take this course, it's going to hinder you to get into the game. Being responsible means making conscious decisions and embracing behaviors that improve yourself and help others. But but if your upbringing didn't model responsibility, if you had parents who always blamed their circumstances on external conditions, this belief might have become part of your programming, showing up as a habit you believe to be true. So, if you have a habit of blaming external circumstances all the time, it's just been ingrained in you that that's what you do, and you pick that up from your parents. And, it's like if you had a mother that was always blaming your father for her unhappiness, You will pick that, not to say if it was true or not, but that's what you're picking up on. And then also you might have grown up with an overbearing family who always makes your major decisions like college, career, and even marriage. So those are things that are going to disempower you because you're not going to trust your decision making. As a collective, many of us were raised to believe that a responsible person follows a specific path, getting a university education, perhaps influenced by your parents or peers, securing a corporate job with benefits and a retirement plan, getting married, buying a house, having a family, and accumulating debt. This often leads to feeling trapped, overworked, and waiting for retirement to finally start living. It's time to break free from this cycle and create a life of true fulfillment. And that's what this energy is with this Taurus full moon. What do you love? Where are you willing to break away from the old confines and to figure out how you want to build your own stability in this macrocosm world? Okay. So, in an awakened state, we become more aware of how we play the game. We realize we do have a disadvantage. Yes, we are here to experience a beautiful way of living, but it is up to us individually to decide what that looks like for ourselves. Playing the game is about being responsible for self expression. The object is to use your imagination to co create with the universe and understand who you are. So that's what I've really been talking about here. It's when you give your power away, it's because you really don't know who you are. You don't know what you value. You don't know what's important to you. And you kind of just wake up and just uh, let reality just kind of shape you instead of you shaping your reality. Responsibility is choosing how you will raise your vibration to inspire. We are all affected by the moon and the energy fields around us. We also are affected by what is going on in the world. While playing the game, you will always have an opportunity to check in with how you are feeling by your mood. By becoming aware, you are participating responsibly on your journey towards an enchanted life. If you choose to wait for someone to show up and tell you what to do, I want you to know that someone is not coming. Your progression in the game solely relies on you and the action that you are willing to take. By choosing to show up differently in the game, you are committing to do the inner work. And that is what we are really being moved towards. We are really being asked, when are we going to stop looking for a savior? We've been so groomed and programmed and indoctrinated that somebody is coming to save us. And nobody is coming to save you, okay? You are going to save you because you have everything that you need. You have source energy within. So you have all the talents and you have your blueprint. You just forgot. That's all. You just forgot. And so that's why it's so important. So I want to get into like some of the things that you can do that, because I do give you like some exercises to really tap into this. And we're going to get into that. So the inner work is all about self discovery, studying yourself. Who are you? What do you love? Your archetypes, your strengths, your talents. How is your spirit guiding you? And what do you want to learn? How do you express yourself? What makes you feel expansive? And what invisible baggages are you holding on to that keeps holding you back? Explore all of these questions while playing the game. The answers are the magic of your purpose. If you choose to ignore yourself, you will experience a dark night of the soul. And that feeling is like the world is collapsing around you. And I feel like a lot of people are experiencing this right now because they put so much trust and faith in this election. And so now they don't know what to do with themselves. They feel disempowered. And so that's dark night of the soul is the perfect time to start doing the inner work and taking your power back. um, you feel like you have no options uh, than to rebuild your life from a place to remember who you are, a phoenix rising from the ashes. And so that's what's going to happen. Right now, we are in the midst of it. And that's why it's so important for me to get this workout because I've already been there. I've already done this. I've had my dark nights of the soul. Not saying that with every level of awareness, every up level, you don't have a dark night of the soul because it continues. But what I'm saying is where you might be right now after feeling like the rug was swept from underneath you, this is going to help you. And that's why it's so important that I showed up and created this mini masterclass. So, have you ever had the wind knocked out of you only to come back full force and fight for what you believe? The universe is helping you to get back in the game. And that's what this dark night of the soul is doing. It's reminding you how powerful you are. It's reminding you that you've been on the sidelines. You've been giving your power away to something else. And it's kept you in the loop of not really being in charge and control of what you truly desire. So compare the first rule to choosing a game piece representing you as a player in the game to creating an enchanted life. This is where you're building your avatar. This means you are ready to take responsibility for how you follow the rules and understand the objective of the game. So I'm going to just go over a few of the things that you can do to work. So discovering responsibility and self-knowledge for living an enchanted life. This is an exercise. Reflecting on personal responsibility. Number one, reflect on your upbringing and the environment you grew up in. Were you encouraged to take responsibility for your actions and decisions, or were blame and external circumstances often cited as reasons for outcomes? Think about how you currently approach responsibility in your life. Do you tend to take ownership of your choices and their consequences, or do you often blame external factors? Number three, consider any patterns or habits you've developed around responsibility. Are there areas of your life where you feel empowered and in control, and others where you feel like a victim of circumstances? Step two, identifying personal programming. Explore any ingrained beliefs or programming you may have inherited or adopted regarding responsibility. This could include beliefs about success, achievement, and societal expectations. Write down any specific instances or experiences from the past that may have influenced your beliefs about responsibility. This could include family dynamics, cultural influences, or significant life events. Reflect on how these beliefs and experiences may have shaped your current approach to responsibility. Consider whether they align with your values and goals for living an enchanted life. Excuse me for looking down because I'm reading this actually from my book. So I just want to let you know that. And if you're finding at this moment, I just want to take the time. If you're finding this very helpful and you want to grow more and you really enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave me a like and leave me a comment of how you feel, how you take charge of responsibility in your life. Okay, step three is setting intentions for your personal growth. Identify areas where you would like to cultivate a greater sense of responsibility. This could include relationships, career goals, personal development, or spiritual practices. Set specific intentions for more ownership and accountability in these areas. Consider actionable steps you can take to align your actions with your desired outcomes. Number three, write down any obstacles or challenges you anticipate on your journey towards greater responsibility. Brainstorm strategies for overcoming these obstacles and staying committed to your intentions. That's why intentions are so important because when you set intentions, whether you're setting a goal, intentions, affirmations, you're affirming something, or even through prayer, that is giving you more focus on what it is that you want to um, where you want to grow. Okay. So, number four is committing to self reflection and growth. Commit to regular self reflection and introspection as you embark on your journey towards living an enchanted life. Schedule dedicated time for journaling, meditation, or mindfulness practices. Monitor your progress and celebrate your successes along the way. Recognize moments where you demonstrate responsibility and take positive steps towards your goals. And number three, be gentle with yourself and acknowledge that personal growth is a continuous process. Embrace the lessons and insights gained from each experience. Knowing the lessons contribute to your journey toward living an enchanted life. And I'm going to always emphasize living an enchanted life. By completing these worksheets exercises, you have taken a step toward understanding the role of responsibility in shaping your journey toward living an enchanted life. Remember to continue exploring and cultivating a sense of ownership over your choices and actions, as well as this will empower you to create the magical and fulfilling life you desire. And I share these with you because it's so important. And I really think that this is the perfect topic for this full moon in Taurus. It's about taking back your power, understanding that you're responsible for your stability, finding your skills, your strengths, and really acknowledging how freaking amazing you are. I talk about often on my channel that you are a star, and you literally are a star. And it's really time for you to start playing your starring role. And that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next Tuesday masterclass.
Destiny's tree, fear and doubt, she feels no shame. In her eyes, a story told, heart of fire, soul of gold. She's an enchantress, destiny's tree.